Celebrities have a past, just like the rest of us. Long before the red carpets, award shows, and millions of fans, they experienced awkward moments, embarrassing mishaps, and personal flubs that rarely made it to the public eye.
You'll never know what show it was. And then I got ripped off the stage.
Over the years, many of these moments have been caught on camera.
I said, the Halloween candy thing, is that right?
And you were like, the candy corn thing?
Yeah, I thought
like, no.
Seeing themselves in these old clips can be hilarious, shocking, or even a little cringe-worthy. Some react with laughter, others with disbelief, and a few are completely speechless. Keep watching as we reveal celebrities reacting to their most embarrassing moments.
We parked the plane.
Oh,
the
God.
plane has stopped.
Oh, my God.
The thing is at the door. We are all ready to leave. We are standing. All of the teams have gone
psycho.
off.
This moment comes from a lighthearted interview where Jennifer Lawrence was shown an old clip of herself, and she had a very honest and funny reaction to it. When she watched the clip, she immediately cringed and laughed at her own behavior. She jokingly called herself a psycho person, meaning she could not believe how she was acting back then.
Oh my God, that's a truly psychotic person.
She was reacting to her own energy, expressions, and the way she spoke, which felt very awkward to her in hindsight. It was one of those moments where people look at their younger self and feel secondhand embarrassment. What made the moment funny was how real her reaction was. She was not trying to look polished or careful with her words. Instead, she openly admitted that watching herself felt strange and uncomfortable. She even seemed shocked that the person in the clip was actually her. That disbelief is what made the audience laugh, because many people can relate to feeling embarrassed by old videos or photos of themselves. The clip was shown to her during the interview to get an unscripted reaction, and she delivered exactly that. Jennifer Lawrence has always been known for being very open, casual, and self-aware in interviews. Rather than defending her past behavior, she leaned into the joke and laughed at herself. Tom Holland's reaction to Own Mimi.
Say congratulations on becoming a father to Nicki Minaj's child before we move forward with the interview. How are you finding fatherhood so far?
It's a glorious journey, one that I wasn't ready for, but you know, I've taken it on and it's going really well.
This was not a real fatherhood story. It was part of a long-running internet joke that fans created linking Tom Holland and Nicki Minaj together. The joke started around 2019 on Twitter, where fan accounts posted fake edits and memes pretending Tom and Nicki were dating. It was never real, but it spread fast and became a popular meme. When Nicki Minaj announced her pregnancy in 2020, the joke exploded again.
Ready for, but you know, I've taken it on and it's going really well.
People on Twitter jokingly congratulated Tom Holland as if he were the father. Even Nicki noticed the joke and liked a tweet about it, which made fans push it even more. Tom Holland first talked about the meme in an Esquire interview, where he said the joke stressed him out a little because people online were acting like it was real, and he was obviously not ready to be a dad in real life. Still, he handled it with humor. This moment is from Capital FM interview while Tom was promoting his movie Cherry. The host, Jimmy Hill, leaned fully into the joke and asked him, "Congrats on becoming a father to Nicki Minaj's child. How are you finding fatherhood so far?" Instead of shutting it down, Tom played along and replied jokingly that fatherhood was a glorious journey, even though he wasn't ready for it, and said things were going well. He even joked that he balances being a dad with working on movies like Cherry. Miley Cyrus reacts to old audition.
We have to put this out.
This moment comes from an interview Miley Cyrus did around the time she was preparing to release her song Malibu in 2017. During that period, she was doing a lot of media appearances and reflecting on how much her life and music had changed. One of those stops was Radio Disney, which played a big role in her early career. While she was there, the hosts surprised her by showing an old audition tape from when she was trying out for Hannah Montana. At the time of that audition, Miley was not famous at all. She was just a young teenager hoping to get a role on a Disney Channel show. Seeing that clip again was emotional and awkward for her, but also meaningful. In the audition video, you can see a very young Miley trying to sound confident, focusing hard on the lines, and clearly wanting the job. When she watched it years later, she reacted with laughter and disbelief. She pointed out how different her voice was, how nervous she looked, and how much she had changed as a person. It reminded her that her career did not start with fame or success, but with rejection, effort, and patience. The timing of this moment mattered. Malibu was a song about peace, personal change, and returning to a calmer version of herself after years of chaos in the spotlight. Watching her old audition matched that theme. It showed the contrast between who she was before fame and who she had become after growing up in public. Millie Bobby Brown reacts to her first interview. This clip is from a TV segment where Millie Bobby Brown is asked to look back at her very first interview for Stranger Things, filmed when she was only 12 years old.
I mean, little program called Entertainment Tonight.
At the time, the show had just started, and no one involved really knew how big it would become. In that early interview, Millie talks about her normal routine, mentioning what she liked to watch in the evening around 7 or 7:30. Watching it years later, she reacts with surprise and laughter because of how young and innocent she sounded. She points out how quickly everything changed after that, especially once the show became a global hit. The segment highlights how fast Millie grew up in front of the audience. In just a few years, she went from a child actor on a new Netflix show to one of the most recognizable young stars in the world. When asked about Stranger Things back then, she says they were just making a show and had no idea if people would even like it. That makes the clip feel very real in hindsight, considering how massive the series became. The interview also touches on Season 3, especially the developing romance between Eleven and Mike. Millie explains that playing those moments felt natural because she and her co-star had known each other since they were kids. She jokes that it would have felt more awkward if it were someone she didn't already know well. The segment then widens the focus to other cast members. Winona Ryder is mentioned as someone who also grew up in front of cameras. She was only 17 when she first became famous, had major success early on, then saw her career slow down before Stranger Things gave her a new chapter. Winona openly says the show changed her life and that she feels thankful for the chance. Zendaya watches her own old YouTube vlogs. This moment comes from a video where Zendaya watches her own old YouTube vlogs and reacts to them with a mix of laughter, embarrassment, and honesty.
So please enjoy and watch all my wonderful videos.
What is this?
And watch all my wonderful...
Before she became a major star, Zendaya was still a teenager trying different things online. Alongside her early success on the Disney Channel show Shake It Up, she also tried YouTube vlogging. At the time, she was around 14 years old, and like most kids that age, she was still figuring out who she was. In the reaction video, Zendaya sits down with her assistant, Darnell Appling, and scrolls through her old uploads. Almost immediately, she starts cringing. She admits that watching those videos feels uncomfortable because she can clearly see how forced and over the top she was acting. Zendaya explains that when she was younger, she felt pressure to act like her Shake It Up character, Rocky Blue. Even in her personal content, she believed she needed to stay cheerful, bubbly, and positive at all times. She says she created a full persona for YouTube that did not really reflect who she was in real life. She also reveals that she used to write full scripts for those vlogs with a friend from middle school. Looking back, she calls those videos the most annoying thing she has ever seen. She laughs at how exaggerated everything was, from her tone of voice to her constant smiling. At one point, Zendaya even recreates one of her old clips to show just how fake it felt. She jokes about her old slogan, which focused on happy smiley faces, and admits she truly believed she was building a smart brand that Disney would love. She says she thought she was being very clever at the time. Emma Watson reacts to her awkward moment on The Tonight Show. This moment comes from Emma Watson talking about an awkward mistake she made on The Tonight Show, and it is something she still laughs about years later. Emma was appearing on Jimmy Fallon's show, and it was the very first time they had ever met.
Is it all flushing back to you?
The trauma, the post-traumatic stress of my last performance on the Jimmy Fallon show.
Everything was going fine at the start. She walked out, sat down, and the conversation felt polite and friendly. Fallon even remembers her being very kind and calm. Then, before the interview really got going, Emma tried to compliment him. She told him how much she loved his Halloween candy thing. The problem was simple but painful. That Halloween candy bit does not belong to Jimmy Fallon. It belongs to Jimmy Kimmel. As soon as she said it, there was a pause. Fallon didn't immediately react, and Emma realized something was wrong. She tried to explain what she meant, talking about the segment where kids are tricked into thinking their parents ate their Halloween candy. That is when it fully hit her that she had mixed up the two hosts. Emma later described the moment as feeling like instant embarrassment. She said she turned bright red and felt like she completely died inside. Fallon joked that she died, and she agreed, saying it was one of those moments that flashes back to you later and makes you cringe all over again. What makes this story funny is how human it is. Emma Watson is known for being thoughtful and composed, so hearing her openly admit to such a simple but awkward slip made fans laugh. Fallon also handled it gently, which helped keep the moment light instead of uncomfortable. Celebrities reacting to their old photographs. A content creator approaches celebrities in public and asks them to sign a photograph.
Can you sign a picture for us?
At first, it seems normal, but the moment they actually look down at the picture, they realize something unexpected. The photo is an old image of themselves, often from years before fame. That is when the reactions kick in. Some celebrities freeze for a second, clearly confused. Others laugh immediately because they barely recognize the person in the photo. A few stare at it in disbelief, trying to process their old hairstyle, outfit, or facial expression. You can almost see the memories rushing back as they ask questions like, "When was this taken?" Or "Why do I look like that?" For some, the reaction is pure embarrassment. They joke about bad fashion choices, awkward poses, or how young they looked. Others feel slightly uncomfortable seeing a version of themselves they have mentally moved on from. And then there are those who get genuinely amused and start laughing at how much they have changed. Leonardo DiCaprio's hilarious reaction after winning Oscar. This moment happened right after Leonardo DiCaprio finally won his first Oscar, and instead of a big confident speech, his reaction was surprisingly awkward and shy. After the ceremony, a journalist approached him and asked a very simple question about how he was feeling after winning the Oscar. Instead of giving a long answer, Leonardo looked a bit confused and caught off guard. He paused, smiled nervously, and simply said, "It feels amazing."
He's got to ask, where is he going to put his second Oscar?
Yeah, exactly, right?
The interviewer followed up and gently pushed him to say more about the Oscar itself. That is when things got even more uncomfortable in a funny way. Leonardo seemed almost embarrassed, like he did not know what else to add. His body language made it look like he had been put on the spot. He stumbled slightly with his words and then said, "Look, as I said, I'm incredibly grateful." What stood out was how unsure and modest he seemed. This was a man who had been nominated many times and talked about awards for years. Yet when he finally won, he did not act proud or dramatic. He looked shy, almost like he did not know how to react to finally holding the Oscar. Many fans noticed that this was one of the few times Leonardo looked genuinely flustered in public. There was no arrogance, no big celebration talk, just a quiet and thankful response. That made the moment feel honest. Jennifer Lawrence's raw reaction on the stage. Jennifer Lawrence's reaction on stage was completely unfiltered and charming. The moment she stepped up, she seemed unsure of what to do or say, pausing with a soft, "Hello, AMs," before realizing she needed to engage with the audience. She glanced around asking, "OMG, what do I need to do?"
What do I do? I what?
Her awkwardness was palpable, yet it only made her presence more endearing and genuine. Slowly, she composed herself and began answering questions, handling each one with her characteristic honesty and warmth. That brief moment of hesitation captured her authenticity perfectly, showing that even stars can be beautifully human under the spotlight. Will Smith's reaction to his horrific night with Chris Rock? Will Smith described the night he slapped Chris Rock at the 2022 Academy Awards as a really bad experience.
Oh, wow!
He called it a horrific night and said that in the moment he didn't fully know why he reacted the way he did. He admitted he lost it after Rock made a joke about his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, and that he was dealing with a lot of things inside him that all came to the surface that night. Smith also explained he was going through personal struggles that evening, but made it clear that nothing like that justifies what he did. He said that no matter how someone is feeling, hitting someone is never the right response. One of the most emotional parts of his explanation came when he talked about his 9-year-old nephew, Dom. After returning home from the Oscars, his nephew had stayed up late to watch him win and later asked, "Why did you hit that man, Uncle Will?" Smith said that was very hard to answer, because his nephew is such a sweet kid and doesn't understand the deeper reasons adults sometimes react badly. Anne Hathaway's reaction to her own movie scenes. Anne Hathaway often describes watching her old performances as emotional and surreal.
I was 17 years old when we made this, and so I hadn't met as many people yet in my life.
In this clip, she revisits scenes from a film she made as a teenager and reflects on working with Julie Andrews and Gary Marshall. She calls them two of the most magical people I have ever met and admits she hadn't fully appreciated their presence at the time. Seeing herself in those early scenes leaves her speechless and emotional, highlighting how much perspective changes with time. She also comments on the technical aspects of scenes, like one involving a stubborn prop, an owl brush, showing that she notices the small details of filming she either forgot or didn't fully grasp while acting. Her commentary blends nostalgia, admiration for her co-stars, and pride in her younger self. Hathaway emphasizes how the film shaped her life and career, calling it a fusion of life and work. She seems genuinely proud of her performance and the journey it represents, saying things like, "I'm really glad that I'm that girl right there." Angelina Jolie's reaction to her own movies. Angelina has said that she generally does not like to watch most of her own movies once they're finished. She explained that she enjoys the process of making a film more than actually seeing the final product.
Kids want to be on camera or behind the camera or in the...
My kids, I think some of them off camera, behind the scenes, but they really, really want to be, especially Shiloh.
When she watches her performances afterward, she sometimes gets frustrated because it doesn't turn out how she imagined or because it feels strange watching herself on screen. That's why there are several films of hers that she's never seen or has only watched once. In past interviews, including around the late 2000s and early 2000s, Jolie has said she doesn't like watching herself act because she focuses on how she might have done something differently rather than enjoying the performance. She once joked that she prefers the making of experience so much that watching the finished work can feel uncomfortable. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed seeing these celebrity reactions, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your favorite moment, and subscribe for more fun videos. See you in the next one.